difficult to actually read the volume of correspondence that I published. But if she read it, I think actually the content of the correspondence is what's really important. And if she read it, she would see that I have taken more trouble and published more information than probably any other government has published in any previous bid. I made huge efforts to be transparent, and she knows it perfectly well. Now, I'll give away in one moment. Paragraph 1.2c of the Ministerial Code, she referred to, it's very clear on this. If ministers make an inadvertent error, they should correct it at the earliest possible opportunity, which I did, not breaking the Ministerial Code, but acting in accordance with it. Absolutely. Now, I haven't had to correct things I've had to say very often, but could I remind the Right Honourable Lady that she has had to correct the record in January 2010, May 2009, April 2009, July 2008, July 2007 and November 2003. One of the many aspects of this job where she has much more experience than me.
I've had to correct the record as well. There is absolutely no dishonour in correcting the record. However, what the Minister just referred to was his reply on the 7th of September when he said that it was for reasons of cost that he wasn't able to provide anything more. How much would it have cost him to remember that he had sent a memo to the Prime Minister on the matter, or for that matter to have checked his own mobile phone for the text messages that he sent to James Murdoch? He's lied to Parliament.
Order. Let me just say to the House that the substantive matter under consideration, reflected in the terms of the motion, is whether the House of Commons has been misled in any way. That is the thrust of the matter under debate, and the Secretary of State is making a very clear defence of himself. So when members cavil and inquire whether what we've heard is legitimate, I am guided by advice and I operate on the basis that there is a substantive motion, which is what the whole debate is about, and in relation to which the Secretary of State is speaking. In general terms, the normal principles of Erskine May about moderation and good humour apply, but I cannot preclude a member operating in accordance with the terms of the motion. The Secretary of Order! I require no assistance from the Immigration Minister. I require no assistance from the Immigration Minister. The Minister should sit, be calm, listen intently. If he doesn't want to do so, he can leave the chamber. Secretary of State.
Mr. Speaker, on point of order, Mr. Speaker, I'm not sure if everyone correctly heard the allegation that was made by the Honourable Member for Rhondda. As I understood it, he accused my right honourable friend of lying to Parliament. My understanding was that that was unparliamentary language which should be withdrawn.
What I say to thee, members can shout as loudly or as long as they like, and it doesn't make, and he says they will, it won't make any difference. I am simply saying that on advice that I have taken, nothing disorderly has occurred. And I simply ask the Secretary of State to order, Mr. Brennan, I simply ask the Secretary of State to continue with his own case. I would appeal to members to exercise restraint in the frequent order with which they intervene if the debate is to continue in an orderly way and there is to be a reasonable opportunity for members on both sides of the House to contribute. Secretary of State Hunt. Point of order, Mr. Jacob Rees-Mogg.
Speaker, as in this debate it may be orderly to accuse my right honourable friend of being a liar, would it be orderly to accuse the front bench opposite of being the most sanctimonious, hypocritical humbugs in recent political memory?
The answer to the honourable gentleman is no, it would not be legitimate to make an individual such charge against an individual member when that individual member is not the subject of the motion under debate in the House. Let me just say that the honourable gentleman has said what he's said. I've explained why it wouldn't be proper for him to say it, and I know, being as well behaved as the honourable gentleman is, that he won't persist. The Secretary of State Hunt.
with great respect to your office, Mr. Speaker, I think there is a huge difference between misleading Parliament inadvertently and lying. And lying, if I may mention...
Order. I appreciate, I'm sure, the Secretary of State's respect, but let me simply say to the Secretary of State, explicitly and for the avoidance of doubt, what I have just said. There is a motion. That is the motion that is being debated. The Secretary of State will make his case, which I look forward to him continuing to do. I will be the arbiter of order, and I know the Secretary of State will leave that to me. Secretary of State Hunt.
Mr. Speaker, it's because I wish to make my case that I wish to draw the House's attention to the very important distinction between inadvertently misleading this House and lying. And lying is something that implies deliberate intent.
Hear, hear.
And the Honourable Member for Rhondda, who's made great play in the press of how he has suffered when inaccurate allegations about him are bandied about in the press, would, I'm sure, not want to associate himself with a comment unless he has any evidence. So I'm very happy to give way to him now if he will show me some evidence that any occasion where I may have inadvertently misled Parliament was deliberate.
Mr. Speaker, I very much hope that I will manage to catch your eye later in the debate, and I hope that the Secretary of State will stay, because I've got a great deal of evidence to prove that the Honourable Member has lied to Parliament. And that will be not the subject of a point of information now, but the subject of a whole speech.
I think it's very pertinent because I'm actually here to respond to any allegations he might make. So if he's not prepared to come forward with evidence that I deliberately misled the House, then I will have to assume that he doesn't have such evidence. And I'm going to continue with what I'm saying now. There